The gate tonight was $8.3 million. Attendance 19,480. It was sold out. 4 performance of the night bonuses: Bellato, Montez, Rodriguez, and Dober.
Dana, dominant work from Charles Oliveira, but maybe not exactly the fight the crowd was anticipating or looking for. What were your thoughts on the way the main event played out?
I don't know if anybody was expecting that. I mean, the way he body locked him and took him down so easily and absolutely dominated him on the ground. I thought there'd be a lot more stand up, and I thought that Max would do a better job at defending the takedown. And if he got on the ground, he'd at least pop up a couple, 3 times during the round. But total domination.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the goal of the sport is to win fights, right? But when it's a BMF title fight, do you feel like there's a unwritten rule that you got to fight a little bit differently, that you got to make it a stand-up war and not have a grappling-based approach?
Well, I think you'll have those type of guys, but the goal at the end of the day in every fight is to win. So he did exactly what he needed to do to win. And I think probably, you'll have to ask Max, but in training camp they're probably expecting, if you've seen Charles fight, he's not afraid to go toe-to-toe, stand up, and, they obviously really believed that if they took him down to the ground, tonight would happen.
Yeah, no doubt. 4 fights tonight. They're broadcast on CBS as well, including like one of the weirdest fights ever with Garbrandt and Jalong. But just curious kind of what you thought about being back on network television, and, is that an important milestone for the UFC?
Yeah, I think that, if you look at where we are now, we're out from underneath 2 paywalls. So obviously being on CBS is huge, and Paramount for what it would cost you for 1 pay-per-view, you can watch everything UFC for the year. I mean, we already feel the difference in the business, and Paramount definitely does. I think we have exceeded their expectations on how many people are coming over to watch the fights, and obviously the White House fight will blow it out of the water.
Well, you made the announcements tonight that everybody's been waiting on. I guess talk about how you decided on Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje of getting that honor of main eventing this, historic event.
Yeah, so basically what we did is the matchmakers went out and put together, started talking to everybody, seeing what fights were possible, and then came back to me, and I chose the card.
Nice. Interim title fight at heavyweight with Alex Pereira and Tsarukyan. I guess reading into that, does that mean there's really no update on when Tom Aspinall will be back? And have you checked in with Eddie Hearn, I guess, an update?
Yeah, Tom, obviously won't be ready for the White House fight, so that's why it's an interim title fight.
Nice. Can you share with us what the fight was that fell out?
That's not important.
Fair enough. Last thing I want to ask you, again, today there were some weird reports of betting irregularities around Michael Johnson and Drew Dober.
Yeah.
Obviously, the fight happened, so it wasn't concerning, but was there legitimacy to this again? Did this happen again?
Zero. And a weird post that somebody posted that a kid was kidnapped and some crazy shit, all bullshit.
Dana, you talked about you don't want to say what fight fell out, which is fair enough, but there is obviously...
Well, there's weird circumstances around it that we probably shouldn't talk about.
Okay. There is speculation, of course, that it's John Jones.
No, it's not.
Was John
Ever, which I told you guys 100,000 times, was John Jones even remotely in my mind to fight at the White House. I wouldn't. First of all, I've told you why I wouldn't do it. And number 2, some guy with, meta glasses on filmed him talking about his hips, that his hips are so bad. And I don't know if you guys saw that flag football game where he can barely run. John Jones he retired because of his hips. He's got arthritis in his hips. Apparently he's been, doctors say he should have hip replacement. So
okay.
Add that on top of all the other reasons that I wouldn't. The John Jones thing is bullshit. Okay. I'm not saying they weren't talking to John Jones and that John Jones wasn't interested in the fight. And what was even crazier is John Jones came out and was like, I'm in negotiations right now for the White House fight, after I had already sent a text to his lawyer saying, never going to happen ever.
Is it fair to say then John Jones is retired and this is the end of his time?
Yes.
Okay.
Very fair.
For the White House card, have you decided yet? Is it still in the works? How much is Paramount Plus? If there's CBS portions, what are we looking at for the broadcast itself?
Well, we got a lot of the logistics done. We went out there and presented it to the president and his team, and now we'll get into all of that stuff. Still so much work to do for this fight. Literally, Craig Borsari, head of production, this is all he works on now. Nothing else. till it's over.
Yeah. You said to Joe Rogan earlier that actually this card was not as easy as you thought to build. You obviously aren't going to tell us the fight that fell out, but is this one of those things that we'll never find out, that behind the scenes there was a lot of crazy shit going on with making this card, and we'll one day find out that it was actually insane?
There's crazy shit with making every card in this business. This is a very hard business to be in and run. I mean, on a day-to-day basis. It's like a soap opera here every day. But yeah, this was a fun one.
I wanted to ask about just a boxing question. Jaya Patel was meant to fight for the IBF title, and then a report came out that they were disrespected by the way you put the belt on the press conference stage, and they've taken it away. What's going on with that?
I'll talk about that tomorrow at the boxing press conference. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of that? You guys are the media. I mean, this guy defended their title for 4 years and paid his sanctioning fee. The fucking guy who's the supervisor or whatever he is flies here, lands, and says, "Hey, where's my per diem?" We give him his per diem. He jumps back on the fucking plane and flies back, and they put out a press release. Just, these guys are going to do all the work for us. These guys are going to do all the work.
Are they refunding his sanctioning fee?
Are they really what?
Are they going to give him back his sanctioning fee?
We'll see how this plays out. Yeah. But I'll talk to you tomorrow about this. Let's do UFC shit tonight.
Dana Beck.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jose.
Conor McGregor obviously tweeting a lot today. He wasn't very impressed with the fight. Says, if they want, I'll spank Charlie. Obviously about Charles Oliveira. Is there any update on Conor McGregor? He did a podcast today with Chael Sonnen saying that he probably won't fight on the White House because of the amount of revenue he could bring in. So is there any update on when or if he'll fight again?
No. But we are definitely talking to Conor, obviously.
But there's no like timetable. You just okay.
Not even close.
Dana Beck here.
Yep.
Earlier you had said that you were planning some big stuff in Washington, D.C. for the fans, kind of like just, not just the White House event, but things they could look forward to throughout the week that were UFC related. We've also heard about International Fight Week, still coming in July. Can you just talk about what fans could look forward to leading up to the fight in D.C.? And
Yeah, obviously you can't get tickets to get into the White House fight, but the Ellipse across the street, we'll be able to hold 85,000 people over there. We're gonna have screens and fan activation over there. Ram is like giving away trucks over in the Ellipse. There's going to be all kinds of cool stuff. So even if you obviously can't get tickets, you should be in D.C. the week of the fight. Press conference is going to be at the Lincoln Memorial. It's going to be fun.
Can't wait. I want to ask a little bit about the numbers now being on Paramount. One of the things I think a lot of people talked about is it's not just cheaper for fans who are already watching UFC, but now the new audience that cut cable and they're looking for stuff and now they're being introduced to it. Have you been given an estimation of how many new fans of the UFC are being on Paramount?
No, not yet. But like I just said, I literally just said this to him. That, the number's been massive for Paramount. We exceeded the expectations, and now that we're not behind two paywalls, it's a big deal. And again, tonight, like we said earlier, being on CBS is incredible too.
Thank you.
Dana, just one for me. Talk about the lightweight division. Right here, Dana, sorry.
Yep.
Obviously, Charles just won the BMF title. Justin and Ilya are fighting at the White House. There's that one guy in the division, Arman Tsarukyan. He had an interesting weekend in Tempe last weekend. What did you make of that when you saw those antics, and where does he stand in the division?
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it. But, that night, that was somebody else's problem, not mine. But, yeah. That's really all I got to say about that. But the division's heating up and lots of fun fights to make, and we'll get Armin figured out. Thank you.
Hello, it's Matthew for No Sense of French Media. First of all, congratulations for the White House. And the question is, BSD Benoit Saint-Denis was supposed to fight in this card also. So he was supposed to fight Chandler, right?
Yeah.
So 3 French-speaking people were supposed to fight in the White House. Was it like on purpose for the White House to have like 3 French-speaking people inside.
Well, it was on purpose, but not because they speak French. We're always looking to put on the best fights we can with the best fighters, and obviously this card is going to get a ton of exposure. The guys who are on there, every one of these fights actually means something. They just happen to speak French.
And about Benoit Saint-Denis, do you have like other plans for him, like something booked or not yet?
Who's that?
Benoit Saint-Denis,
Yeah.
because
No.
he was supposed to fight on the White House.
Yeah, I think he's hurt.
And just like one last question for me about Nassourdine Imavov. He's also like number 2 of the middleweight division. So, do you have some news about him? Like
What did he say?
fighting?
No,
Nassourdine
not
Imavov.
right now. Not right now. I don't.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Right behind him, Dana.
What's that?
There we go. I know you spoke about Armand just now, but he was in talks with Hunter Campbell about potential fights with Gaethje, Volk, and the winner of this fight, which ended up being Oliveira. I wanted to know what you think makes the most sense for him.
What's the question again?
For Armin, I know
Yeah, yeah.
Armin said he spoke to Hunter
Yeah,
about his...
got it. I don't know. I'm not thrilled with Armin right now. And there's a lot of different reasons. It's not just the stuff that you see publicly. But yeah,
Care to elaborate on any of those reasons?
no.
Dana, with those antics with Armin, is that going to make you hesitant to let these guys compete in the RAF? Because it seems like that promotion's taking off.
No. Listen, there's plenty of guys that wrestle that have, been respectful with other guys that they wrestled, and I understand there was some back and forth with both of those guys, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and Armin's been smoking a lot lately, so yeah.
Hey, Dana, over here. I know you said there's nothing planned, but I just was wondering what you thought about, because Conor McGregor said he recently wants to fight the winner of tonight, and Oliveira won. What would you think about McGregor versus Oliveira fight?
That guy just asked me that 2 seconds ago.
Oh, I thought-
that
yeah,
was
all right,
going to
well-
happen. Yeah, we have no date for Conor right now. Not even close. So,
And another thing about you said recently, you said you'd want to box Eddie Hearn. Was that serious or was that a joke?
no, it's serious and a joke. I'm fucking 56 years old. I shouldn't be fucking boxing anything. The last time I even tried to get ready to box was for Tito. I was 38, and that was a fucking nightmare. Okay. And Eddie Hearn's a pussy. He don't want to fucking box anybody. Come on. Fucking Eddie Hearn boxing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He said he would. He said he would, and he said it'd spark you out.
Listen, if that's what, then fucking fly out here. We'll go over to the Apex and we can box. And last night, Callum Walsh was telling me, he's like, we were power slapping. He's like, this thing would be, you should do it. You should do it. I'll fight in the undercard. I said, you'll fight in the undercard. If 2 fucking bums like us were going to do that, we'd be the first prelim of the night. It would be disrespectful to every guy who's a real fighter on that card to be under us. We'd be the first prelim of the night. And that would be fucking embarrassing.
Speaking of prelims, earlier today there was a fight where the lights kind of went out inside the arena. I'm not sure if you caught that.
What was it? Tonight? Yeah. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
It was just the lighting grid.
Oh, the lighting grid? That's weird. The power went out last night at Power Slap, too.
I saw them be in the air.
Rough weekend for us.
Obviously, you said there that the matchmakers presented you with options that would be available for the White House and that you would pick the card. Was Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje like your pick all along to be the main event for the White House?
Well, we literally had, I don't know, 15, 20 fights to choose from, from the top to the bottom of the card, which is 6. We were at 7, actually. I added one more, and then when the other one fell out, we went back to 6. But there were lots of things in play. There were lots of different fights in play for the White House. And then this is the card that I ended up picking.
Dana over here. We obviously saw RDR lose his fight. It's his second loss in the UFC now. What do you think would be a good plan for him, moving up to 205 or checking out 185?
I don't know. In my opinion, he didn't look like he really wanted to be in there tonight. It didn't look like the same guy to me tonight. I don't know. Has he been through here yet? No? I mean, you guys might want to ask him. I don't know if he had a bad camp or he's whatever. I don't know. Just in my personal opinion, I literally text the matchmaker and says, to me, does he look like he does not want to be here tonight?
Thank you, Dana.
Yep.
Dana, right here. Just to double back on something Gabriel was talking about. At one time, you said the White House card was going to be International Fight Week. Is it not going to be International Fight Week now?
No.
Okay.
I know Kayla Harrison was someone that a lot of people thought might be on that card. We haven't really heard.
Talked about her too, but she had surgery. I mean, when we were talking about that fight, it was something crazy. Like in 24 hours, she found out that she needed to go in and get emergency neck surgery. 24, 48 hours, whatever it was.
Do you know how she's doing now? Is she going to be out for a while still?
Did what?
How is she doing now?
I think she's doing good. Yeah, she's recovering.
Okay, and
she had neck surgery, like not long ago. The last thing you want to do when you have neck surgery is get punched in the fucking face by Amanda Nunes. You know what I mean? Or her pulling on your head or neck. So we'll give her as much time as she needs to heal.
Yeah, and then you've been asked about Alex Pereira going to heavyweight for years at this point. You've kind of had mixed feelings on it. Why did you guys ultimately feel like this was the right time for it?
You know, Alex Pereira is this guy that he wants to fight everybody, you know, every single weekend. He's one of the most unique guys we've ever dealt with. And, you know, we all agreed that if this is what he wants to do, he deserves it.
And a big piece of this fight will be his pursuit of a belt in a third division, which has never happened before.
Yeah.
We thought maybe if it would be like, 145, 155, 170 or something. How incredible is it that he's going for it at 85, 205
So
heavyweight?
true. It's absolutely incredible. And, you know, we'll see how it plays. You know, Cyril Gane is a very interesting fight for him because Cyril Gane doesn't move like a lot of heavyweights move. So should be a very fun fight.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
Yep. Good? All right. Good night, you guys. Thank you.